Mm, mm,
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, my dear ladies. Welcome to another episode of the Versatile Muslimah podcast. I'm your host, Kulsum.
And I'm Lena.
And we're your hosts for today for the podcast. And the topic for today is a crack in feminism. And it's surrounding the recent events, I'm not sure if anyone's aware, in the sports industry, specifically handball, which happened just a few weeks ago, actually. And I actually wanted Lena to shed a little bit of light so, you guys understand what's happening and what we're going to be talking about today. So, Lena, go ahead, inshallah.
Thanks, Kusum. Okay, so basically, for those of you who didn't hear about this, a Norwegian women's beach handball team was fined for refusing to play in bikini bottoms during a game in the Sports Euro 2021 tournament. And what ended up happening is that even some female athletes in Germany started wearing to kind of like stand in solidarity with them in full bodysuits. But they also got fined and stuff, but they were like praised because they were supporting the other women who didn't want to wear bikini bottoms. So the entire issue is surrounding, this idea of your freedom to choose what you want to wear, and that if a woman wears more clothing, she is looked down upon, and in this case, even fined. So, Kulsum, I'm going to start by just asking you, what do you think of this?
Yeah, I think it's hypocrisy. I feel like the West always promotes this, women should choose what to wear and all of this, but then, finding these athletes really exposes the Western hypocrisy. And if people can't see that, then I really don't know what to say, right? Yeah, honestly, it's hypocrisy. What do you think?
Absolutely, man. This is basically a sign of how feminism has failed women. I don't know if anyone out there knows understands really the philosophy of feminism, but it all started by coming in as a solution because women were not getting their rights in the West. And absolutely, man, absolutely, women were not getting their rights. But they took a secular approach to solving the problem. And they named this approach feminism. It's a movement that says that women have the freedom to choose their own identity, to have rights within the community, to be looked at as persons. And certain things, yeah, okay, they're great, but then the majority of it is completely flawed. And why is it flawed? Because their morals are constantly changing. I mean, look at this. They're fining women because they would choose to it's still shorts, but they're still fining them because they want them to wear a bikini. Like, that makes absolutely no sense. Like, it's nonsense.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have nothing else to say other than that it's all unfortunately, it is a crack in feminism.
Yeah, it is a crack. And you mentioned the big F word. I don't know if people are, like, oh my God, she mentioned feminism. And I think that we should really break down that word because it's thrown around so much. And I get it. I get that it has there's a personal attachment for a lot of people. I'm not going to lie. When I was in university, I used to call myself a Muslim feminist because the way that I understood it was, well, you're a Muslim, so you have to like stand up for Muslim rights, and then you want to protect the rights of women, so feminism. And then as I started learning, I was like, well, you know what? It's not really about fighting for the rights of women. I mean, we all should be doing that anyways, right? Like fighting for the rights of women, men, all the oppressed. But it's really about the ideology and the mindset and the history behind it. Because, when you're saying that you're a feminist, what you're really saying is that you're putting Islam on a spectrum. You're saying that Islam is on the spectrum, feminism is on the spectrum, and Islam isn't sufficient enough to give you all the solutions, right? And so definitely there is a crack in feminism, and situations like these or scenarios like these kind of help you see how saying that you're a feminist, advocating for it, you're being hypocritical because the people who are making the decisions, again, we've talked about this before so many times, the people making the decisions are flawed, biased, hypocritical human beings. and they simply can't, you know, they simply can't really tell you how to live life. Only Allah can do that because He's perfect. So, I mean, if you want to shed more light on feminism, go ahead. If there's anything else that you want to add, for people to understand why we're being so against it right now, because I get that it's a really sensitive topic
Yeah.
for a lot of people. So
No, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I heard this since I was young. I'm hearing that whole Muslim feminist thing. And one of the problems with this is this idea that we separate our identities. We have and this is the notion of feminism, by the way. There is that notion where you have to separate your identities,
yeah,
right? So your identity as a woman is separate from your identity as a Muslim, which is separate from your identity as if you're a doctor or a lawyer, and which is separate from, you have basically multiple different identities, and you need to fit you need to fit into each one of them accordingly and dress in each one of them accordingly. But this is not how it is. Like a belief system, when a person has a belief system, they follow it. They follow it without even thinking, because it's something that they truly, truly have in their hearts. So they will embody the beliefs, right? That's what happens. Belief is always followed by an action. These things are twins.
yeah,
And so based on this, based on this fact, right? Based on this ideology that a person is going to believe and follow, right? They will act and change accordingly. So a woman who's a feminist is going to start saying, okay, I'm fighting for women's rights, but okay, my question to you now is, well, where does Islam fit in this? You see, you're not different. You are a Muslimah in any case. Khalas, you're a Muslim, period. You don't even separate your gender. Okay? The only reason we separate gender is for specific purposes when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us to. But other than that, we are khalas, period, Muslim.
yeah.
Like it all, like your mentality about how you live should not be based on, okay, no, I need to basically get my rights because I'm a woman and that's what's most important. No, because there's also a lot of other important things that you need to fight for, and other types of people's rights that you will fight for as well, because we fight for all people who are oppressed. We fight for the rights of all oppressed people in Islam.
Yeah.
So if anyone is oppressed, yes, we will fight for them. That has nothing to do with gender. And the fact that they separate this just makes it worse. And it's very hypocritical from the very beginning. I mean, there's a law that states that in downtown cities within Canada, it is permissible for a woman to go topless, because back in the day, men used to go topless, okay, without a shirt on. Okay, I'm sorry. Does this sound like something that you're really getting your right? What is the whole point of getting your right here? Do you think men are not going to be enjoying this or what? Like,
Yeah.
your whole point is you're trying to say no to men. The whole point is that you want to get power over men. That's what women want here, right? But at the same time, they really are losing all their power. They are losing, and they still to this day have not gotten all the rights that they wanted. Like this idea of equal pay and stuff. Why is that? Like they focus on things like clothing, and it's wrong. It's wrong because they don't have all the knowledge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the knowledge of the past, present, and future. We don't. We barely have enough knowledge of the past, present, or future. We don't even know what's going on with ourselves, let alone what's going to happen 50 years down the line. So we're expecting that these people who are in power, okay, to tell us how to live our lives and what we can or cannot do and what is permissible and what is not permissible. And we follow this group of women and we feel so empowered by it, which makes absolutely no sense to me. I mean, it makes no sense. And this is feminism at a glance, I guess.
Honestly,
Sorry, I went on a rant.
you know what though? Like I get people who say that they want to focus on the rights of women, right? Because I mean, like for example, like I work with women. I don't work with like men or like children, for example, right? I focus on women. So I get that people want to focus on women, but that doesn't mean at the end of the day that you're not cognizant of other people's rights, right? So my whole thing is like, okay, if you want to focus on the rights of women, that's fine. It's a great community to focus on. We do need people to focus on women, right? Even Sheikh Osta, like he emphasizes a lot on the education and the growth of women, which I think is beautiful and it's great. But the problem isn't focusing on women, because that's the argument I get when I talk to people about, young girls about feminism, because they claim that they're Muslim feminists. They're like, well, no, we're just trying to advocate for the rights of women. The thing is that when you're advocating for the rights of women, you're doing it, one, under the wrong sphere, right? Because again, the laws are so biased. You may think that you're helping women get their rights in one category, but literally in another category, it's literally going to mess you up. And it's kind of like, hammering your own foot kind of thing. I don't know like what the exact saying is, because even when you look at the idea of pay for, or like not even pay, like paternity leave and maternity leave in the US, a lot of women are struggling with the idea that they have to go back to work, um, like a month or 2 months right after they give birth. But hey, you guys fought for these. You guys fought for that equality. It's not supposed to be, equality. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given the perfect rights for women, the perfect rights for men. And so I get it. I get the women and the ladies and the young ones who are saying that, look, I just want to help women. And may Allah reward you for your intentions and put barakah in what you do. But you have to do it. You have to be smart. One, understand the history of what you're advocating for. Where did feminism start? How did it start? And we can do another whole session. I actually have a few articles on feminism. I don't know, maybe we can link it or something. But you need to understand, one, like, what is the history of feminism? And second, who is coming up with these laws? It's kind of like, when you go back to the lives of Black people, and the laws are created by white supremacists. How are Black people going to get their rights if the people behind, lawmaking are like white supremacists? So how are women going to get their rights? How is anyone going to get their rights when the people behind the laws are hypocrites? They're biased. Like how are you okay with someone wearing a bikini, but you're not okay with someone wearing shorts? And how are you okay with, people standing up for them, in support of them, but when Muslim women cover, we're shunned because even COVID, take COVID, we've been in COVID for the last 2 years. This whole niqab ban, like in Quebec and France and everything, people are like, no to niqab, no to niqab. But now literally the whole world is in a niqab. So, that's something to think about for all these young ladies who claim feminism. So I guess that really brings me to my question. Like, if that is the case, what do you think is the solution, Lena, for women who genuinely want to work with women, who genuinely want, they have that activist vibe in them, and they want to stand up for the rights of women and Islam? What do you think they should do?
They should start learning more about Islam and actually getting involved in the Muslim community. You want to fight for women's rights, you first need to fight for what is the truth and what is the solution to all problems in the world. That's my take on it. I mean, like, you want to get involved? Hey, come and join us. Come and volunteer. You want somewhere to go and want somewhere to, to make change and actually have an effect. And leave something, leave an imprint in this world where you can actually say you did some good. You want to help others. I mean, it's not about saying that you did good. You might not even know it, but still, the point is, if you want to make change, come and join us, man. I what else am I going to say to the ladies out there? It's not going and trying to fight for women's rights with kuffar. No, it's absolutely not. You can change women's, you can help women and help give them more of their rights and all these things, as long as you continue to fight for Islam. This is the end solution for all problems, not just women's related problems. But I just wanted to mention also something kind of interesting, that, in the last couple months, I've been noticing more and more articles similar to this idea of this whole bikini. So in one, there was actually, in the Washington Post, it said that a high school was yearbook photos were edited to actually hide the girls' chests so that it protected them in a way, right? And the parents and students were furious. They ended up like suing the yearbook editor and whatever, the guy, the photographer, the professional photographer that they hired, because he covered their daughter's chests. The parents themselves were angry about this.
Yeah.
Okay, that's another example. And then a third one actually was something that you mentioned about the this idea of the maternity leave. So just recently, also last month, again in the Washington Post, there were women that were talking about, you know, how they are wanting to have children, but they don't feel that they are able to or even allowed to, because the government doesn't give them the opportunities to do so. Not enough pay, okay, no proper maternity leave, and they can't have that life that they now want. Now that they realize they want to be mothers and you know, being at home, they can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
So I mean, this was in the Washington Post, man. They're saying the government themselves is screwed up. They themselves are saying it now.
Yeah.
But only after what? Only after all the stuff that they changed and the problems that they caused now? I mean, how many women stop themselves from getting married just so they can continue a career? Because for them, that was like that's what I have to do. Do you know that there are women? I actually met a woman back home in Lebanon who has a daughter, and she's like, I wish I could raise my daughter. And I'm like, why not? You guys, mashallah, like, you know, you're living, you know, a pretty decent life. Like, you have the money and the ability to. Why don't you just stop, you know, working and raise your daughter? And she's like, because I can't do that. I'll be looked down upon. That is what she responded to me. She's sitting there with like tears about to come out of her eyes because she's seeing her daughter, who is like 2 years old, who she hasn't seen because she puts her in daycare and she works until the evening. So when does she get to see her daughter? She tells me she gets to see her daughter when she basically puts her to bed.
Yeah.
This is a relative of mine, even. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, this was so sad. I was like, you feel the pressure of society more than the pressure of motherhood.
Yeah. SubhanAllah, there you go, right? The standards. Remember, I think we spoke about this at some point, like the standards that are set by society, and now people are running with it. And it's totally, totally sabotaging everything. And one thing I wanted to add though was like, you know, again, I empathize with ladies who are like, well, you know, the reason that we um, want to be, or like our claim that we're a feminist, is because the community has let us down and all of this, right? But the thing is, look, I don't want anyone to use those as standards. The standards are set by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you have to advocate for Islam. If you feel that maybe a masjid or a center or an organization is not meeting those standards that are set by Islam, then you call them out too. But don't use them as a measuring tape for, well, no, Islam actually doesn't give rights, so therefore I'm going to go towards feminism, because really it's a lose-lose situation for you, right? So I think, you know, the one thing I would say for ladies is to, I get where you're coming from. You know, Islam is lacking all around the world, even close to us, even in a lot of organizations and masajid. So why don't we get together under the banner of Islam and try to revive that sunnah, and try to revive the Quran, and try to revive, you know, properly the laws of Allah, so those can be prominent, and we don't have to fall into situations like, you know, the ones that Lena said, where we're trying to meet the standards subtly that are set by society, and it's literally it's just screwing us up. So yeah, that made me really, really sad. It's really sad.
Yeah, man. Me too. Like, when I was reading that article, I was astonished, because I'm hearing for the first time women are actually admitting to the fact that what they fought for was wrong. And you know how it shows? It shows in the birth rate, right? Like, the US birth rate is at the almost like at a record low. Basically, and it's been in decline for the last, I don't know how many decades, right? But this is the ultimate low that it's ever been at. And it's because of this. When they asked and they surveyed women, it's like they don't feel they have the ability to have kids.
Yeah.
And it's not a physical ability. Like it has nothing to do with like the physical aspect I'm talking about. They don't think they can.
Yeah.
And that's sad.
Yeah. And you know
It's sad. And by the way, I just want to mention to everybody, like, I am in no way saying, you know, a woman should not have a career and should not educate herself and all these things. I am a huge believer in that. I mean, I myself got a master's degree for that reason. Like, I actually do love education, and I love the idea of having a job and stuff. And look at you, mashallah, you're a career woman. I mean, you have your own business. And so that's like something I advocate for as well. But for me, that's where it's like, okay, yes, you can choose, you and your spouse will choose. You know what I mean? You talk about this with you. Like, why is it it's always just, oh, it's a woman's choice? It has nothing, like these are emotional. These are emotional reactions to, that's a contradiction, because a reaction by definition is emotional, right? But these are reactions, emotional reactions to the lack of rights of women.
Yeah, and you know, Lena, like it really does come down to the idea that, look, you're a Muslim lady, right? All of us are Muslim ladies, so don't bother to impress the kuffar, because they're constant change. They have constantly have changes in their morals and standards, right? If you follow the standard that Allah Subhanahu wa Taala has set, I promise to you that you're going to be happy. The way that you should lead your life as a single woman, the way that you should lead your life in the work field, the way that you should lead your life with your husband, right? Like, you have to trust that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what's best for you, because we at the end of the day are so biased, so biased, that we simply cannot be the ones that are setting the morals and rights for mankind. So, you know, that's the thing I want to end off with. And I really hope that people get the message across. And honestly, guys, if you don't, I get it. It's a hot topic. It's like the big F word. And so if you want us to come on and do another discussion or do a live or something where we can like talk about it, let us know. We're more than happy to have more conversations around this until we answer people's questions and concerns and things like that, inshallah.
Absolutely. And I just want to actually, just before we end off, I just want to mention, you know, I really like your point on us, you know, not changing, not changing ourselves, not trying to impress the kuffar, because their morals are constantly changing. And this is something that a lot of women struggle with, right? Like that's why women don't necessarily wear their proper hijab. They're always afraid of, you know, what are people going to think of me? How are they going to look at me? You know, how am I going to seem in society? But hey man, listen, if you wore shorts instead of a bikini, you're going to be fined. You're going to be shunned anyway. So you might as well wear the whole jilbab al-khimar and do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and do the right thing, and at least do something that is correct and has value, and you uphold your beliefs, so that you don't have to regret this on the day of judgment, so that you can stand in front of Allah and you want to impress Allah, and you're not going to be ashamed for not doing it, you know? So that's what you want.
Yeah.
That's what you want. And I'm just giving that as a reminder to all the ladies who are listening, inshallah. And I think that's where I'm going to end. Do you have anything else before I end? Or?
No, honestly, I kind of want to hear from people. Did this all make sense to you? Do you have any questions, any comments, any thoughts? Let us know. And we'll end off here, inshallah.
Awesome. Okay. So Jazakallah khair, ladies. I also want to know what's going on with you guys and how you felt about today's podcast, and any future podcasts you want to know, or if you need anything, you know, you can obviously contact us. So share and post, and, you know, private message us on Instagram, social, and all types of forms of social media, right? Instagram, Facebook, wherever we're at. Follow us, and keep an eye for our next episode, inshallah. So, Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, ladies.